Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a look at a self-development approach. It's quite interesting. It blends some pretty intense motivation with, well, a bit of spirituality and some very specific daily disciplines.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix.
Our source material is this really comprehensive guide from the YouTube channel Simone Squared. It's called 10 Steps to Transform into Your Dream Girl by 2026. Quantum Jump.
Quite a title.
It is. And this isn't, your standard self-help list. It's framed as a blueprint, and it's based on this pretty radical idea that apparently every version of yourself already exists.
Right, that's the core concept.
So our mission today is to really unpack the mechanics behind this. What do they mean by quantum leaping and collapsing time?
Yeah, because it's not literal physics, obviously.
No, exactly. For anyone new to this, these terms are more about the psychological side. It's about shifting how you see transformation, not as this long, slow grind, but as something that happens, well, almost instantly.
The idea is you make the jump just by deciding to fully embody that ideal person, like right now.
Right now, yeah.
And what's fascinating right off the bat is how this system sets up its central promise. If we think about collapsing time as basically speeding up results psychologically.
Because you're acting differently, so you get feedback faster.
Exactly. The source is kind of claiming the decision to be the new person is instant. But then there's all this practical work needed to, anchor that decision in reality.
Makes sense. It's not just wishful thinking.
No, definitely not. And we should probably mention the guide also talks about practical tools like merchandise, Slay Society shirts, I think.
Yeah, and a life formula journal designed specifically for this process.
So tools to support the transformation.
Okay, so let's get into it. The foundation, step 1, is all about defining this new identity, and the guide is really clear. This definition can't be just surface level.
Right, not just, I want a new wardrobe.
Exactly. The change has to be internal, really deep.
So you have to map out everything.
Pretty much every single aspect of this ideal self, how she feels every day. That's a big one.
What excites her, like intellectually? New skills, hobbies.
Yeah, or even the kind of relationship that fulfills her. It's holistic. The source warns that if you skip this internal wiring part, the external changes just won't stick.
Okay. And this detailed definition then leads to this psychological tool, the alter ego.
Yes. Step 1 leads right into creating this alter ego. The source suggests you actually give this future self a distinct name, like Veronica or Kelsey.
Okay. So you have your current self, maybe Simone, and then you have Kelsey.
Exactly. And the usefulness of that name is tactical. It's immediate. You've created this high-definition standard for who you're becoming.
So when you slip up, which you will.
Right, inevitably. When the old self, Simone or Ally, whatever, starts procrastinating or thinking negatively, you have a shortcut.
You use the name, like what would Kelsey do?
Kind of, yeah. Or just bringing the name Kelsey to mind is meant to help you collapse back into that defined state. It's supposed to stop the old pattern instantly.
I see. So the alter ego becomes an anchor, not just some far-off goal.
Precisely. So, okay, you've defined Kelsey. Now step 2, the audit. The inevitable, maybe slightly painful self-audit.
Right. How far away are you really from being her consistently?
And this needs brutal honesty. It often zooms in on those tiny daily habits that actually create a huge difference over time.
Like the example they gave, Veronica, the alter ego, wakes up at 6:00 a.m. ready to go.
While Simone, the current self, hits snooze till 8:00.
Or Veronica's outgoing, says yes to opportunities. Simone prefers staying home, says no. It's those contrasts.
Exactly. And looking at those contrasts helps you pinpoint the core block. Why can't Simone just be Veronica?
And the source suggests it often comes down to poor energy hygiene.
Which sounds a bit woo-woo, but they define it very practically.
Yeah, it's basically spending too much time on things that do not matter, things that just drain your energy.
Like mindlessly scrolling social media, getting caught up in gossip, having draining conversations.
All that stuff. If the old self is doing that constantly, her energy hygiene is poor. She just doesn't have the internal fuel to act like Kelsey.
Whereas Kelsey, by definition, only spends time on fulfilling things, so she feels energized.
Exactly. The audit shows you exactly where your energy is leaking out.
Okay, so define Kelsey, find the leaks through the audit. Now we hit step 3, which feels like the big conceptual leap in this whole thing, the mindset shift.
And this is where that paradox comes in, right?
Yeah. The source just states it flat out. Becoming the person takes no time at all.
It happens instantly, the moment you decide and start living from her perspective.
Okay, but if that's true, Why do we need 7 more steps? Why all the discipline?
That's the crucial tension, isn't it? The source implies your mind is the only barrier. Your mind throws up the linear obstacles like, oh, I need months to fix my procrastination before I can be Kelsey.
But the quantum leap idea says you just bypass that linear thinking. You decide, I am Kelsey now.
Right. But, and this is the key, that decision on its own is fragile. If you don't immediately back it up with new actions, new behaviors, your mind just defaults back to the old programming. Or, interestingly, your nervous system might flag the change as unsafe.
So the later steps aren't about becoming Kelsey.
No, they're about building the mental and physical infrastructure to stay Kelsey, to maintain the identity you just instantly chose.
The discipline is the proof you've already changed, not the path to changing.
Exactly. That reframing makes the next steps make so much more sense.
Okay, so if the old mind is trying to pull you back, you need ways to stop it in its tracks. Step 4, pattern interrupts.
These are immediate physical techniques.
Right. The moment you catch that old thought pattern, the one that definitely isn't Kelsey's, you interrupt it.
How? Like literally.
Literally snap your fingers. Or wear a rubber band on your wrist and give it a flick.
Okay.
The specific action doesn't really matter. It's the sudden physical jolt that acts as a sharp reminder. Snap back into being Kelsey.
Breaking the pattern physically to break it mentally.
Exactly. And those quick interruptions are supported by Step 5, the daily practice stack. This is about getting deeper control over your brain's basic mechanics.
And the source warns against trying to change too much at once, right? Because you'll just burn out.
Yeah, guarantees failure, basically. So instead, you pick just 3 high ROI actions, things that give you the most bang for your buck.
And they recommend a specific stack.
They do. Very specific. 10 minutes of breath work, 10 minutes of meditation, and 10 minutes of EFT tapping.
EFT, emotional freedom technique.
That's the one. Lightly tapping on meridian points while focusing on an issue to kind of dial down the emotional charge.
Okay, so breath work, meditation, EFT, 30 minutes total.
Yep. And these aren't random choices. They're designed to reset your baseline state neurologically.
The source makes a strong point here. If you wake up and the very first thing you do is grab your phone and scroll.
You've already lost the day. That's good. You're immediately a slave to every single distraction.
Ouch. Harsh, but probably true for many.
So this 30-minute stack is about reclaiming that control, that focus, first thing.
Makes sense. And beyond the stack, accountability is big too. Taking action that forces Kelsey to show up.
Yeah, that's a clever psychological trick, like putting your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. The examples are good. Paying upfront for Mandarin lessons on Preply. They mention Preply specifically, though say it's not sponsored.
Or booking that expensive Pilates class with a hefty $40 cancellation fee.
Right. The financial commitment, or just the scheduled commitment, makes it real. Painful to skip.
The old self, Simone, would probably never spend that money or commit that time. So by doing it...
You're literally forcing Kelsey's behavior, her commitment, her discipline into your reality.
Okay. And then moving into the deeper stuff, the subconscious blocks. The source acknowledges that sometimes you need help with big fears.
Yeah, therapy comes up. Positioned not as like a forever thing, but maybe a focused investment for 1 to 3 months.
For tackling those major roadblocks when you hit them.
And they mention their sponsor, BetterHelp, as an accessible option. They point out things like financial aid and being able to switch therapists easily if it's not a good fit.
Like dating for a therapist, they say. Which does remove a common barrier.
Yeah, finding the right fit can be tough otherwise. Okay, so now we get into the real, deep work. Steps 6 through 9. This is about moving past conscious habits and actually rewiring your self-concept subconsciously.
The heavy lifting.
Totally. The source outlines key techniques for this subconscious programming. Using affirmations is big.
But not just any affirmations.
No, they mention ramp-up affirmations or rampages, these high-energy focused streams of positive self-talk.
Yeah.
And you need to repeat them when your mind is most open to suggestion.
Which is when?
First thing when you wake up and right before you fall asleep. Those times when the conscious filter is kind of down.
And you're supposed to weave this into the daily stack too, aren't you?
Exactly. Repeat the affirmations during that meditative state after breath work. And you can even listen to subliminals or recordings of these rampages while you sleep.
Letting it seep in subconsciously.
Right. Because just chanting affirmations consciously often doesn't work if your core self-concept, your nervous system's default setting, doesn't actually feel safe with the new identity you're affirming.
Ah, okay. That's the next big barrier, right? The nervous system barrier. This is probably the most complex part.
I think so too. The source really emphasizes this. You will self-sabotage, you'll unconsciously block the quantum leap if your nervous system perceives the new, successful you as dangerous.
And this shows up as hidden beliefs, like protective mechanisms.
Exactly. The example about wealth is powerful.
Hmm.
You might struggle to make more money, not because you lack discipline, but because deep down you believe something like making more money means I won't have time for my kids.
So you subconsciously block the success to protect something you value.
Right. Or the source even mentions potential ancestral trauma playing a role. Like the example given was, my great-grandfather got shot because he was rich.
Wow. So if, subconsciously, success equals danger,
Your nervous system hits the brakes hard. It forces you back to the safe, familiar, maybe stagnant, old identity.
okay, so how do you make the nervous system feel safe with Kelsey, the successful alter ego?
Visualization is the key tool here. Daily visualization. You have to consistently, vividly imagine your life as Kelsey.
The goal being to hold space for her until she becomes the default.
Yeah. And the visualization needs to be so real, so visceral, that it actually brings those deep-seated fears to the surface before they can trigger real-world self-sabotage.
Okay, explain that.
Well, say you're visualizing being a super successful TikToker, huge following, all that. And suddenly, doing the visualization, you feel this overwhelming fear. Fear of hate comments, maybe even threats to your physical safety.
Right, the potential downsides of that kind of success.
Exactly. That's your nervous system flagging a potential danger associated with the success. The idea is to feel that fear, acknowledge it, and work through it during the visualization practice.
So you process it proactively.
Yes. You essentially inoculate yourself against the fear before the success even happens. That way, when the success starts to materialize, you don't panic and sabotage it.
That's actually a really powerful way to think about visualization. It's not just manifesting the good stuff, it's preparing for the consequences of the good stuff too. Fear inoculation.
Precisely. It makes you psychologically robust enough to handle the success.
Okay, fascinating. And that brings us to the final step, step 10, which circles back to real-world action, decision-making, making faster decisions.
Yeah, and specifically stopping the overthinking. The source points to overthinking as like the primary thing that kills momentum.
Because overthinking is the old self trying to stall, trying to avoid the leap.
That's the idea. So the goal is to instantly anchor into Kelsey's perspective. Ask, what would Kelsey do right now? And then just act immediately. No waffling.
They give that dating example, which really clarifies it. Ally, the old self.
Feels insecure, needs validation. She's obsessing over some guy who hasn't texted back. She really wants to text him again. She's in that chasing energy.
Right. But Kelsey, the boss babe, alter ego.
Totally different reality.
Yeah.
Kelsey's busy. She's focused on her career, her health, her goals, those high ROI actions we talked about. She genuinely doesn't have the bandwidth or the inclination to stress about some random man who's not her husband.
That old insecure pattern just doesn't exist for her.
It doesn't compute. And that's where the quantum leap shows up in the real world.
In the micro action.
The moment you break the pattern, you don't send the needy text. You choose the workout instead of the snooze button.
In that moment, you have already become Kelsey. You made the decision, I am her now, and you acted from that identity.
Progress demands constant movement. Stagnation, getting stuck in the old ways, that's the only real failure in this system.
Exactly.
So boiling it all down, this whole system, from naming the alter ego to the deep subconscious work, it really hinges on embodiment, making that immediate decision, and fundamentally trusting your mind's power to shift your reality. It does. And if anyone doubts that power, especially the visualization aspect and how it collapses time, the source actually grounds this in research findings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they point to studies showing that when people just vividly envision exercising, like running, the actual muscles involved in running can show measurable growth or strength gains.
Seriously? Just from thinking about it?
Apparently so. Because the brain, physiologically, doesn't know the difference between visualization and what's real. So by consistently embodying that new state in your mind,
You're essentially tricking your brain into accepting that the transformation is already done.
that's the theory. It's powerful stuff.
It really is.
So maybe here's a provocative thought to leave everyone with, based on that idea. Since your brain doesn't really distinguish visualization from reality, what's one small, specific action you could visualize yourself doing right now, like today?
An action that would make your nervous system feel completely okay, completely comfortable with the massive success you actually desire.
Yeah. Because finding that instant acceptance, that internal safety with success, Maybe that's where the real power to leap forward lies.
Food for thought.
Mm.
Go do the work, as they say. Choose and slay.
And hey, if you need that tangible reminder, apparently those Slay Society shirts are out there to help anchor the new identity.
Right. Well, thanks for breaking this down. We'll catch you next time for the next deep dive.